Curt Schilling went on Fox Business News and went on to kind of defend, or at least kind of interpret
Can I interject for 1 second before we run the video? Because you'll see in the video, he went on Fox Business, but apparently he was unaware that he was about to go on TV because he didn't have time to change.
But also, Curt Schilling, a baseball pitcher, a former baseball pitcher, and someone who is no longer allowed on Fox Sports, right? But can go on Fox Business,
at least ESPN.
Or ESPN, was it ESPN?
He
Yeah,
left
maybe
ESPN, but he was going on Fox Business. I mean, one of the reasons that people dislike him so much in Boston was because of in New England, is because of the millions and millions and millions of dollars he got from the state to start his business, which I think was a gaming business, online game, and it failed and cost hundreds of people their jobs and lost millions of dollars of taxpayers' money. But he's on Fox Business, so go ahead.
So now that you're up to date, here's the impeccably dressed Curt Schilling about to defend Donald Trump's statements about seeing a girl who was 10 years old and saying in 10 years I'll be dating her.
You're someone who obviously has spent a lot of time in locker rooms. You know what locker room talk is. What was your reaction when you heard that?
Well, hey, Trish, I want to back up 1 second because I've been listening, and I'm taking it that you're a conservative like I am. You for the most part.
I'm an independent, but I don't like taxes.
Okay, well, here's the thing.
Go for it.
The conversation you're having about the things he said about the 10-year-old girl, to me, is at the very heart of why this is a problem. How many times, and I have 3 boys and a daughter. How many times have you looked at a young man and said, wow, he's a beautiful young man. Wow, he's a gorgeous young man. And that man was 12, 13, 14, 15.
I'll be honest,
or he's a beautiful.
Kurt, zero. I've never
that's a lot. There's no way you haven't seen somebody else's son and said, wow, he's beautiful. Wow. I mean,
and thought I'm going to be dating him? No.
No, but that's...
You're on your own on this one.
But no, I'm not on my own on this one.
There's a reason that we're pausing the clip right here, and that's just to come up for air. Everyone needs to take a break, because if it went on any longer, that's when I was like, all right, I have to hit pause and walk around in a circle before I watch the rest of the clip. And here's the rest of the clip.
I have boys. My youngest son is a gorgeous young man, and I've heard women say, wow, he's a beautiful young boy. To jump to the point where you're insinuating like something like pedophilia or a molestation is where you're going with this, because he's joking about, well, when she gets older, I'm going to date her. I mean, how do you get from there to being revolted and disgusted?
Yeah, I don't look at a young boy and say, in 10 years, I'm going to date him.
Well, we don't, but you don't actively look for that.
And I think that would be pretty sad if I did.
Well, I mean, I think it says more about you than it does about him. So you tell me you see a 10-year-old girl and think, okay, yeah, I'm going to date her in 10 years? I have a daughter. My daughter has friends. I've seen my daughter's friends. I'm a man. Wow, she's a beautiful young lady. I don't immediately jump to molesting her.
Oh. Off camera, there's someone just going, bring in a reliever.
Yeah.
Oh, good God, it's so bad. Ugh. So, how do we feel about that? Because my skin has gotten up and crawled to the other side of the room.
Brett, I like that you took a break in the middle, because I thought it couldn't get any worse. I thought he was going to try to begin to rescue it, right? No, and I had not seen the end of that tape. I just read about it, right? The end was the worst part, when he's like, I have my daughter's friends. I look at them, I think they're beautiful. It doesn't mean I'm going to molest them. No, Curt, it doesn't, but don't think about them. Don't mention them.
Hey,
everybody's super uncomfortable. Don't do that.
One time I looked at someone who I said later, and I was 16 and she was like 11, Hermione Granger. I was like, Emma Watson's going to be pretty. But I was only 5 years older than her. I'm not 5 times her age, and I was a minor at the time.
All context. I mean,
and I still felt creepy. That's my point. Is I felt really, really creepy.
If you see young kids who are playing and you say to one of their parents, well, your daughter's going to grow up to be beautiful, I don't think any parent is going to panic about that.
Yeah.
If you add, I'll be dating her in 10 years, I'm pretty sure the dad's going to recoil pretty quickly.
This conversation's over. You can't make a better point than that. You're right. If you come up and say, oh, your daughter's so cute, that's lovely. You're like, I can't wait to date her. What the? So, and look, the other part of this is the context, right? So if it's a friend of yours, or again, even the only interaction you've had with that person, I hope you're gonna give them the benefit of the doubt, right? Like, hey, it was a little awkward, but that's okay, right? But we know Trump's context. How many times has he said he'd like to date his own daughter?
Well, that's it. I mean, that's the point. He's
Right.
stumping for someone who has said exactly what he's saying on TV here.
Yeah.
Which, about
We're
his
not
own
having this
daughter.
if he says, boy, that 10-year-old girl, she's going to grow up to be a heartbreaker. Let's go get a sandwich. Like
Right.
this, then we
Yeah.
this didn't. Then we're not here.
That's why when I covered it yesterday, the first part of the story was about how he walked into a Miss Teen USA pageant locker room as they were changing with girls ages 15 to 19. And on tape on the Howard Stern show, when talking about the adult pageants that he runs, he says, "Oh, I walk into their changing room all the time, and I see them naked because I own the pageant.
I get to do it.
I get to do it.
Nobody gets to do that. I get to do it.
So here we go again.
Don't get to do it.
Yeah, here's a sense of entitlement. I get to do whatever I
own
want.
the plantation.
Right? Yeah.
Jesus.
Right? And so,
Yeah.
he's walked in on purpose on young girls naked before. He has talked on multiple occasions about wanting to date his own daughter.
Yeah.
And we know what his type is. Every woman that has come forward with sexual harassment and assault allegations is blonde. Okay? And that young girl, when you see her on the escalator, she's blonde. And then when he says, I'd like to date her, or I want to date her in 10 years, I could date her in 10 years.
I'll be dating her in 10 years.
I'll be dating her in 10 years. Then within that context, you go, oh no. Like that is not an idle threat.
It's gross, man. It's gross. It's gross. And it's one thing. It's terrible to the idea because you're the owner, you're gonna surprise the girls at the pageant who are super nervous, regardless of what you think of pageants. They're in a competition. You think highly of pageants. You're running it. You own it. You're putting it on TV. You're making money from it. The notion that you're gonna barge in on them, essentially a stranger to most of them, and they have to be nice to you. So I mean, it's the worst possible thing in the world. It's better if a complete stranger barges in. Because at least they can say to that person, hey, get out. This is our dressing room, you freak, right?
Yep.
But they can't say it to him. So it's horrible enough if these are the 20 to 25-year-olds competing at Miss USA. But then we learned that it was the Miss Teen USA, and some of those girls are 15.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And I'd like to just take one more
And he
moment.
wants a high five for it.
Yeah. And by the way, a couple of the girls said, we didn't know what to say because he owns the pageant.
Right, they can't tell him to get the F out. They can't do it.
The same way you can't tell, Curt Schilling to wear something nice to an interview.
I'm just saying, look, if he's only young Turks, fine. That's how you want it, right?
So I want to take one moment to just go back to Curt Schilling for a second. Because Ben's right. He's a knucklehead in 18 different ways and a hypocrite in 18 different ways. So the the liberals, they just want to take money from the government. And he took all that money from the state of Massachusetts.
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island. That's a great point. And then, as with almost everybody in conservative media, butchered it. Like, I don't know how to run a business. I'm an idiot conservative. Like Glenn Beck, all these guys, they're all so stupid. They don't know what the hell they're doing. And he costs all those people all that money and all those jobs. Okay, so Curt, word to the wise, although, sorry, it's apparently not going to reach you. Just say he was joking, move on. Don't get into a conversation about, hey, haven't you also wanted to make inappropriate comments to 10-year-old girls? You are so monumentally stupid. Say it's a joke and move on. Young Turks membership is awesome.
Says who?
Says me. But
Please believe me.
TYTnetwork.com/join.